Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join me for the dearly departed review for round 12 of the Premier League fixtures. I probably don't need to remind most of you, but the dearly departed are the teams that I covered down in the Championship on the channel, and we wanted to keep in touch. So we have 5 Premier League teams, and we look at each and every game before and after for all of those teams. I'm talking Sheffield United and Aston Villa from 2 seasons back in the Championship, and Leeds United, West Bromwich Albion, Fulham from last season, all successfully promoted. Bit of a mixed week for those 5 clubs, and we'll get into, well, a good week for Aston Villa, encouraging for Fulham, and less so for the other 3 clubs this week, all defeated, sadly, in the Premier League. Before we get to the action, we will say a big thank you to our fan sponsor, Jay Coyle, dearly departed, also known as Ben. Couldn't bear to lose us, Jay. Great supporter of the channel. You too can get involved over on Patreon if you want to support my work and the growth of the channel over here. Thank you again, Jay. Here are the results. Our dearly departed there. I realised, look, I can click the blue bell on SofaScore and it flags them all up. So I'll go through all 10, but you can see our 5 dearly departed games there with their differing outcomes. Leeds 1, West Ham 2, which we did as the watch along on Friday night. Thank you everybody who joined me for that. Wolves 0, Villa 1. So we do get a victory this week. Small mercies. Newcastle 2, West Brom 1. Baggies go under in that one. Manchester United 0, Man City 0. Chelsea 1, Everton 1, Chelsea 0. And things just going from bad to worse for Sheffield United. Southampton 3, Blades 0 there on the South Coast yesterday. Palace 1, Spurs 1. And there's our last game. A highly encouraging performance for Fulham, 1-1 against champions Liverpool. However, the next result there, Arsenal 0, Burnley 1, did mean that we have an entire dearly departed bottom 3 that we were worried about. Burnley were helping us out with that, but they've decided to win some games. Leicester 3, Brighton 0 is the final score. We're going to go from top downwards. I'll put all the time codes in the description down there. So if you want to skip to your team, you can do so right now. I think you can just hover over the progress bar on YouTube and that will help you out with that. So we are going to go first to Wolves 0, Aston Villa 1. Should we call that the Andy Gray derby? I don't know who else has played for both. Did Andy Gray play for both? Andy Gray played for Wolves. I think he did, didn't he? I can't remember. There we go. Someone will correct me in the comments. Anyway, Wolves 0, Aston Villa 1. Not necessarily an Andy Gray derby, but certainly a West Midlands derby over there at Molineux. And Villa get the win late on in this one. God, look at all those yellow cards. Well, we'll talk about 2 of those that turn into red cards when we do the analysis. Interesting from Dean Smith, because you'll see in midfield there, number 41, Jacob Ramsey. So how do you solve Ross Barkley not being there? You go to Ramsey this week, and it was Bertrand Traore as well in for Trezeguet. So bit of a different look for the Villa team. Villa have been very stable in their selection. We've been used to Douglas Luiz and McGinn, Barkley at 10 and Trezeguet right. Neither of those guys in today. So we get Martinez in goal, Cash, Konza, Mings, Target. Solid as you like there. Douglas Luiz, but they're going to have to do without him in the next game. McGinn with Ramsey. If anyone can tell me about him in the comments. I've never seen him play. A new one on me, Jacob Ramsey. Watkins down the middle, Traore right and Grealish left. We have kind of extorted the theory that Grealish is more effective or certainly more difficult to mark with Barkley next to him as another bit of danger for opponents. For Wolves there, Patricio, Semedo, Cody, Saiss, Marçal, Moutinho and Dendoncker, Neto, Podence, Traore with the start, always fun for left fullbacks, and Fabio Silva is the striker there for Wolves. And there is Fabio Silva very nearly giving Wolves the lead there. You can see him on the right of the picture. He's angled the shot, hits the foot of the post. Both keepers in good form in this game, Patricio and Martinez, making decent saves prior to that. Here is a second yellow card for Douglas Luiz. You can see referee Dean there. More pertinently, you can just see a linesman's flag there. He probably helped with this one. But yes, the elbow is up. It's not a straight red, it's a second yellow, and off goes Douglas Luiz. However, referee Dean is probably rightly, in my opinion, going to give a penalty for that one. We've talked about penalties and what the standard is for giving them. And if the standard now is not so much, did you trip the guy up and foul the guy and stop him from advancing? Rather, are you in totally the wrong place and the attacking player can get a contact and go down? Well, this is a penalty in those terms, isn't it? Semedo, the wrong side of McGinn. Looks like there's contact between Semedo's left shin and the back of McGinn's right calf, where his foot is planted, and down he goes, and it is a penalty, which Ollie Watkins does not take after he hit the bar, didn't he, against West Ham. Anwar El Ghazi, high pressure kick late in a game again for Villa. El Ghazi off the bench, steps up, right-footed, sends Patricio the wrong way and scores the winning goal, much to the delight you can see on the, well, not on the expressions because you can't see their faces, but the body language, a few clenched fists there amongst those Villa players as that one goes in. Referee Dean is not finished though. A second yellow there for Moutinho. You can see right on the spot there, and off he goes. Both teams finishing with 10 men in this one. Let's have a look at the numbers. Let me take a drink quickly, sorry. So, 50-50 on the possession, 16 shots to 13, 7 on target to 2 in Wolves' favour, 8 corners to 5 in Villa's favour, 1 big chance apiece, 3-4-8 to 3-3-1 passes. Villa win a tight game, so good for them because we've given... I've given excuses when they've lost tight games. If we look back at the recent results there, you could say Villa 3, Southampton 4. They came up against Ward-Prowse and Ings on a very good day there. Brighton was a bit disappointed, but certainly over the 2 games against West Ham and Wolves, they've probably deserved some points on the board. The West Ham, well, we talk about that when we do the Leeds game. They're just a booby trap for teams. West Ham, aren't they? And Villa should have got something from that game, but they do get something today. They get the 3 points. They do it without Barkley and with Ramsey in the starting lineup. So excellent work. It's still very spotty, isn't it? No draws at all there. Look, beat Liverpool, beat Leicester, lose to Leeds, lose to Southampton, beat Arsenal, lose to Brighton, lose to West Ham, beat Wolves. But the points are coming on the board very, very nicely. And Villa certainly look the most sustainable for a mid-table or better challenge of all of our dearly departed teams. Get your comments in on the return of Barkley and what that might do for Villa, on Ramsey. Let me know what you think about the refereeing, because I know there were some people complaining. I personally, well, let me know which decisions you didn't like and what the problem was, because just looking at them in isolation, I can see an elbow from Douglas Luiz. I can see contact from Semedo on McGinn. I didn't see the first booking for either of those players in the highlights package I watched, but yeah, as I say, let me know which decisions you didn't like and why. But Nice job, Villa, flying the flag, highest dearly departed team, and they get the victory. Get your comments in on Wolves 0, Aston Villa 1. And off we go next to Leeds 1, West Ham 2, that I did as the watch along, so I did see all 90 minutes of this one, so I can speak maybe in a little more detail there. Leeds lining up, Meslier in goal. Dallas is going to start at right back in this one. Ailing centre back because Koch is out injured. Llorente too as well. Cooper, Alioski continues to start games for Leeds at left back this time. Phillips is the deep line playmaker. Click. Rodrigo joins the sort of central picture. We were expecting him to come back and start. Rafinha down the right. He's made that spot his. Harrison and Bamford, under Bielsa at Leeds, Harrison and Bamford start every game when they are fit. For West Ham, who, as I said in the Villa review, who seem to be a bit of a booby trap, not just for our dearly departed, but for a lot of teams. But they have now punished all of our dearly departed, haven't they? I think they've beaten all of them, other than West Brom. Have they played West Brom? They've certainly beaten the other three, let's just say. Fabianski in goal. West Ham without Masuaku, so they go to a back four. Cresswell tucks in from... Cresswell moves out from left centre back to full back. Kufal it is who tucks in. So it's Kufal, Balbuena, Ogbonna and Cresswell. Rice and Souček, as I always described them, as a very solid double pivot. Bowen, Fornals, Benrahma as a number 10 for all you Championship fans. They're interesting. Sebastian Haller up top, who didn't look very productive in the first half, improved in the second, Haller. But on Benrahma, obviously we've seen him do most of his best work on the left, coming inside onto the right foot. But utilised as a 10, quite a clever move by David Moyes. And I wonder whether we'll see teams do this against Leeds, where not that you're going to put somebody on Calvin Phillips, but put somebody in his zone and occupy him, because Jamie Carragher did some good analysis on this. Everton not doing that, and Phillips had the run of the game there. So look out for that, Leeds fans, on opponents dropping a number 10 in there. Moyes has managed a lot of games. He's not stupid. Right, here we go. Through goes Pat Bamford on 4 minutes played through by Liam Cooper. Down he goes. I think we can immediately say, yes, it's definitely a penalty. Bamford gets there first, knocks the ball around Fabianski and goes down. Penalty. Just on the double jeopardy, just to clarify, I think referee Oliver is right here to give Fabianski a yellow card. What the law says is where a player commits an offence against an opponent within their own penalty area, which denies an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, the referee awards a penalty. The offending player is cautioned if the offence was an attempt to play the ball. So what Fabianski does well, and you can see in the still there, he's looking out to his left at the ball. His hand is outstretched towards the ball in either an attempt to play the ball or to display to the referee that it's an attempt to play the ball. And I think that's the correct decision there, and a yellow card. Interestingly, now if goalkeepers came out, caught someone and did what we've seen them do in the past and hold both hands up, they would in theory be red carded, because they're taking their hands away, and unless they've tried to play with the ball with their feet, then that would be only a yellow card. But I think this is the correct decision, and if I were a goalkeeping coach, as soon as this law came in, and we've seen this actually with a couple of things, Mendy actually against Leeds last week, where goalkeepers are now coming to the edge of the area and sort of stopping, because they're saying, well, within the penalty area now, I can make the foul, concede the penalty and not be red carded. You can almost pull off a tactical foul in the penalty box now if you're a goalkeeper and say, well, look, Bamford's going to score anyway. I'll take a yellow card and the penalty might be missed. So interesting. If I was a goalkeeping coach, I would show Fabianski here as this is what you should do. Come out, try and get the ball initially, but if you're not going to, get your hand out as close to the ball as possible, make the attempt, you will not be sent off. Hopefully that's nice and clear with the laws. What wasn't nice and clear is Matt Click's attempt to take the first penalty, which was a really good player, Click, but this was hopeless, wasn't it? Slow run up, tries to obviously wait for Fabianski to go, which he doesn't, and he makes the save. However, law point number 2, sadly, we're into this all over again. There is Fabianski with both feet off his goal line. Now, I've been on the FA website again this morning, reading my law book that... not that I love to. Some people think I love to read my law book. I don't. I just want to avoid the things in the comments where we're actually debating the laws. You're entitled to your opinion on these decisions, but let's get the laws right as a starting point and work from there, because I see so much hopelessly inaccurate debate on this stuff where if people just read the laws, we could literally take out about 65% of the noise, I would have thought. But when the ball is kicked, the defending goalkeeper must have at least part of one foot touching or in line with the goal line. Now, I don't know why it says in line. I don't know what that means. Because are Fabianski's feet in line with the goal line? Well, yes, they are, but they're clearly not touching them. So, again, I'm perplexed and confused by some of the broad and vague wordings we get on, from IFAB and from the FA. However, again, we can get annoyed with VAR, but a black and white law, with a VAR application, we can be as pedantic as we like. It's black and white. If his feet are not touching the goal line, it's an infraction and it should be retaken. If the FA and IFAB FIFA want to look at making these rules subjective rather than black and white so they work better with VAR, Christ knows how they'd word them. They'd need a very clever lawyer or legal mind, wordsmith, more so than probably myself to do it. But we've spoken about it on the offside law where you could put in a beyond reasonable doubt or, they do have clear and obvious in other moments on VAR where you can add this in and if you don't want it to be black and white, then... But again, we're in the land of people... On the one hand, they don't like the subjectivity of the subjective laws and they don't like the black and white laws plus VAR because it comes across so pedantic with 1 millimetre. However, I think referee Oliver and the VAR team have got this right again. He doesn't have his feet touching the line, so you've got to retake it. Like it or not, I think they've got it right, I have to say. There is Click, he gets a second go. He hits it much harder into the other corner. And I think as well, it's in Fabianski's head there. He's like... and Fabianski's been playing for years. It's a goalkeeper who probably needs to change his technique because he clearly, as the opponent strikes the ball, jumps forwards. He's got to stop doing that. Else, if he saves one, they'll have a look on VAR and they'll stop it. He's obviously rejigged his charging out technique, or has he? I don't know. In the other instance. So there you go. 1-0 Leeds. And I'm pretty much happy with all of the refereeing and the VAR on that. Again, get your thoughts in the comments. However, quote the laws and tell me what you're unhappy with, if indeed you are unhappy. And Leeds fans were unhappy as there goes the equaliser. That is Thomas Souček towering above Stuart Dallas there to head home the equaliser. And Leeds fans unhappy. Another set play goal. Now, I don't know what Bielsa can do about this because A, Souček is way taller than Dallas, towers above him, heads it in, and also Meslier moves to his right and actually slips and it goes through his hand. So I don't know what you can do on the training ground to stop a much taller player heading the ball. In this instance, we'll talk about the other goal. That's a different matter in this instance. And your goalkeeper slipping. So you let me know what you think in the comments in terms of stopping that. But Souček is the height he is and Meslier slipped. So how do you stop it? I don't put the blame at Bielsa there or the set play things. We'll talk about the second goal in just a short time. Now, just in terms of the game state here, I thought in the first half, Leeds were pretty competitive. Bielsa does make the double sub at half-time and tweaks things about. Forgive me, let me just go back and tell you that was Shackleton, who comes in for Alioski, and Costa, who comes in for Harrison. So the reshuffle, if I remember correctly, does Rafinha swap wings? I think he does, and Costa goes right wing. Forgive me if I've got that the wrong way around. Correct me in the comments. Do it politely, though. And then Dallas goes to play left back. Shackleton, a centre mid, then goes to play right back. So Bielsa, tweaky. Where did we get up to? There we go. That is Fornals. Leeds faded in the second half. And I have to say, I've watched a lot of Leeds. I've talked to a lot of Leeds fans. I cover them every week. This was, I think, the biggest fade I've seen in performance level drop-off through the season. Let me know if you think that's accurate. And if you don't, let me know what was. Because I thought West Ham were good value for this in the second half. I've used the term booby trap, but they do create a couple of open play chances. It's not all set plays and towering headers. There is Fornals there, sticking that just past the post. Meslier is beaten by that, isn't he? And Fornals probably should have scored. Meslier does redeem himself to some extent. That picture doesn't do it justice, really, because it looks like it's close to him. But Balbuena, that's a bullet header from close in. Really quick reaction from Meslier. Good save by the keeper there. But here comes the winning goal, and it's another set play, and it's Liam Cooper again. Now, last week wasn't Liam Cooper's fault. He slipped for the Zuma goal. And I think, did he take out one of his own players as well? Or, no, actually, there you go. Someone else slipped and took out Cooper, didn't they? If I'm remembering that correctly in the Chelsea game. That was unlucky. This, I think, was quite poor. Cresswell crosses it in, and you can see Ogbonna, who's an absolutely huge bloke, with Liam Cooper, who's good in the air. And this is not Stuart Dallas and Thomas Souček. This is Cooper gets caught under a good delivery. Ogbonna pulls off the back of him. And here you have to say the marking's just not good enough, is it? Ogbonna's behind Cooper. He's made a fairly straightforward run. And that doesn't give Meslier any chance, does it? 6-yard box. Really good cross by Cresswell. In with pace. And Ogbonna just has to direct it in. So, if we're talking about leads and set plays, maybe the first goal, okay, fine. But this one, well, surely again, that's Cooper being a little bit tighter, reading the flight of, okay, it's a good cross. Sometimes as well, guys, and let me know if you think this in the comments, sometimes it's a good cross, good movement, and a good header. And we look for fault, and you can find fault anywhere if you're looking hard enough to find it. So if you think that's the case, then that might be reasonable. Let me know in the comments. I personally think if you're a centre half, this is your job. This is your thing. You train to do this, don't you? Tracking the runner, getting in the right position. At least be touch tight and put the guy off is what I would say. And he's just let Ogbonna go. Let me know your thoughts on that second goal. West Ham do hit the post there. Balbuena, you can see on the near post, has just glanced that header again. Meslier crouched down. He's probably beaten. And they hit the post there. That was, it should be said, not exactly open play because it was a recycle from a set play by Ogbonna, funnily enough, who puts in a nice cross and it's glanced onto the post by Balbuena. I think that proves that West Ham created a fair amount of chances. However, Leeds could have got a point here because there is Rodrigo, who's got beautifully in between Ogbonna and Balbuena, the Twin Towers centre halves. A third man run from central midfield. He's done exactly right there. I think Ailing puts in an excellent cross and he should score. We can't quite see the angles from the still, but so the cross comes in from an angle, and basically if Rodrigo diverts the direction of the ball in any way from where the cross comes in, this makes it hard for Fabianski in the goal to make the save. However, Rodrigo does glance the header, but the ball doesn't really change direction enough. If he can angle that towards the corner, I don't think Fabianski has much chance there. So for all I'm saying, West Ham had some good chances. Leeds could have got something at the end of this game. Would Pat Bamford have scored that one? I wonder. I suppose he wouldn't have made the run from as far back, but I think he's slightly better in the air than Rodrigo. I don't know. It's irrelevant. It wasn't him that got the chance. He wasn't on the pitch at the time, was he? Indeed. But good chance for Rodrigo and some crumbs for comfort at the end of that. But West Ham win tight games, don't they? And that's the thing. There are the numbers. Was it a tight game? 3 big chances to... Well, look, let's go from the top. 64% possession Leeds, 36 West Ham. Moyes won't be bothered about that. That's not really a relevant stat in this battle. They're fine without possession. 19 shots to 13, 8 shots on target to 7, 6 corners to 5. So other than the possession, all of the numbers really are going West Ham's way. 3 big chances to 1. So the numbers in isolation, which as a single factor analysis is never the best way, but the numbers in isolation do intimate West Ham were good value for the win. And when we've wound back those chances, they probably were good value. However, Leeds could have caught them at the end with that Rodrigo chance, couldn't they? So looking at it recently for Leeds, 4 defeats in 6 now. Newcastle to come up. And yet again, a stoic old manager there in Steve Bruce, who'll, very similar to Moyes, have Newcastle organised. And we've said, looking at these defeats now, Wolves and Nuno, Brendan Rodgers, Roy Hodgson, not Lampard so much, that was a different type of defeat. But now Moyes, does Steve Bruce fall into that character? Is this kryptonite for Leeds this season? Who knows? You let me know what you think in the comments. Certainly the good wins for Leeds there at Villa, Sheffield United and Everton have been in slightly more open games or open teams playing against them. I mean, West Ham had the ultimate there of a team that's not open and did create some chances as well. That's very hard to win against, isn't it? So, I saw some interesting comments from Leeds fans. I think of all the defeats they've had this season and all of the moments in the season, this is the one probably where maybe expectations adjust a little bit, because we thought Leeds would be able to drop into that third quartile and maybe try and push for halfway this season. But this one, you're like, this league is hard going, isn't it? When you have teams like West Ham and managers like David Moyes who can put out that type of performance, make it tricky and get the win. So let me know what you think from a Leeds fan point of view there. What's your take after this one? Because I've certainly been a lot more confident and bulgy and enthusiastic about the sustainability going forward of Leeds. But this one was a little bit, this is hard. There's a load of teams now in this league where you think, are Leeds going to be able to finish above teams like Palace or West Ham, indeed, who might be going for that top half. And again, then big picture, you have to say where they've come from. Championship, no parachute payments. Maybe the level is 10th to 15th and move forward from there. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments on that one. Congratulations, obviously, to West Ham. But our angle here is the dearly departed. It was Leeds 1, West Ham 2. Get your thoughts in the comments. On we go to Fulham 1, Liverpool 1. And obviously we had our ridiculous Aston Villa 7-2 win. But we've had some good performances by the dearly departed against Liverpool. Leeds only went under by 4-3, didn't they? And Sheffield United could have got a second penalty and had the lead. And Fulham get a draw in this one with a highly encouraging performance at Craven Cottage in front of some fans. Fulham going for that same system again, where Reid is given a lot of responsibility down the right to defend and cover his fullback there, Iain, and attack. I mean, use whatever terms you're comfortable with. Let's call it a 3-5-2 without the ball and a 4-2-3-1 with the ball. Again, use whatever terms you're comfortable with in describing the position of human beings on a football pitch. I know some people get very exercised about this and want to debate me for hours on end in the comments. It's not important. Let's talk about what is important and the actual players and what they did. So Areola in goal, Adarabioyo, Anderson centre halves, Iain, a centre half possibly without the ball, a fullback with Reid, again, right forward with the ball and a right wing back without it. Robinson, a left back without the ball, a wing back with the ball. You know what I'm saying. Lamina and Anguissa, a double pivot with the excellent Lookman and Loftus-Cheek off Ivan Cavaliero. So Mitrovic not around, but Cavaliero now starting to find a niche here at Fulham. I was a bit critical of Cavaliero last season. I had great expectations for this front three of Mitrovic, Knockaert and Cavaliero. Didn't really work, did it? The way Parker wanted to play. I think maybe Nuno and Chris Hughton, who've had those two wide players, Knockaert and Cavaliero before, got them the ball quicker and put them in more direct counter-attacking situations, whereas Parker wanted to build the play up. So Knockaert's obviously gone out on loan to Forest, back with Chris Hughton, in fact. Cavaliero, though, seems to be retooling and, a pacey runner and dribbler off the front. So that's working quite well for him. Good bit of management, that, by Scott Parker. There's your Liverpool team, star-studded as ever, despite a fair number of injuries there. Alisson, Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, the brilliant fullbacks. Matip and Fabinho, though, so still missing, obviously, Van Dijk, the brilliant centre-half there. Henderson, Wijnaldum, joined by young Jones again. But they do manage to field that immensely good front three of Mane, Firmino and Salah. But Fulham were really at it in the first half of this one. They're going to go in 1-0 up at half-time. Should have been more, though, shouldn't it? There's Cavaliero. It doesn't find the far corner or the near post at the top corner there, and Alisson can make the save. Those would have been the two finishes that would have given him the most trouble there. There's Cavaliero again. Now, that's a difficult one to shape into the far corner. Maybe an outside of the foot, clip into the space for Loftus-Cheek arriving. But you never blame a forward player for shooting in a position like that, do you? Here's a VAR call on a penalty there. I think I agree with Graham Souness on this one. I think this is a penalty. It doesn't get given. The referee Mariner doesn't give it in the first instance, then goes and looks at the screen and still doesn't give it. Graham Souness suggested that Fabinho goes through the left foot of Cavaliero to get the ball, which means he can't plant his left foot, and essentially it does trip him up. We've spoken about the standard for a lot of penalties where it's just been contact not proportional to bring a player down. This is minimal contact, but that is proportional and does indeed bring the player down. Fabinho then does knock the ball out of play, but that's not really relevant when you've taken the player's standing foot out and forced him to fall over and miss his kick. So I think penalty there, and VAR and referee Mariner got that one wrong. Let me know your thoughts in the comment, as ever, with your reasoning. Here is the goal, though. Second phase from a set play. Liverpool get caught on the turnover. Salah a bit weak in the challenge. Played through by Lookman. Brilliant finish by Bobby Reid, who's going to slice across that. And Alisson, who's a great goalkeeper, isn't saving that one. It flies into the far corner with a bit of curve inward. Lovely goal by Bobby Reid there. Into the second half, Liverpool are more at it now. But Robertson, bit of a mistake there. You can't see the goal line there. You can see the 6-yard box. That is so close in on the goal. And Cavaliero just gets blocked out by Alisson, who, if he hadn't played well yesterday, Fulham are winning this game. However, Liverpool do come good at the end. There's a big chance for Henderson. Areola makes the save to his right. Good save, that. And then here is the penalty for Liverpool. So the free kick is hit. That is Aboubakar Kamara, who jumps in the wall and, unfortunately for him, pops his arm away from his body. And Graham Souness said this as well. I thought he was on good form last night, Souness. And unfortunately for Kamara, there's examples within the wall of 3 players who are jumping with their arms close to their body. Now, that's not the wording of the rules, of the laws, but there is clear examples of how you can jump without doing that. And I think that's a bit damning for Kamara there. So deliberately touches the ball. I'm looking at the laws which I've got up there, including moving the hand arm towards the ball. Well, turning your back's not an excuse, is it? Yes, his arm is coming, obviously, towards the ball. He doesn't know that because he's got his back turned, but that is not an excuse, is it? Scores in the opponent's goal after the ball. Touches the ball with their arm when? Here we go. The hand has made the body unnaturally bigger. Is that unnaturally jumping? Well, I don't know, but there is examples of how you can jump at a free kick. Now, we do see diagrams drawn in the laws, particularly pertaining to wear on the arm. I wonder whether in the end they'll pop this in the laws. This is how you should jump at a free kick. This is how you shouldn't. So I think it meets enough of the criteria to be a penalty. Harsh, yes. Pedantic, yes. But it's a subjective rule, this one. So it's not black and white like the keeper coming off the line in the Leeds game or a tight offside or something of that nature. But I do think it's a penalty, I have to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Leave your bias at the door and give me your reasoning, though. Of course, as ever, it's a rubbish penalty by Salah. He still scores. He tries to confuse the keeper with Salah with his penalties by quickly taking a couple of side steps, angling his run, and trying to add that extra movement into the keeper's mind. I guess if you don't look at him and just look at the ball, that won't work, which presumably is what Areola did. I think he just leans slightly the wrong way, tries to divert and save it, but he can't. What is certain is if he probably had dived to his right, he's saving that. But ifs, buts, maybes, he doesn't. And it goes in. And Salah gets yet another goal. And it's 1-1. And it's a very good performance by Fulham, considering they're playing against the champions. But should have won, shouldn't they? Look at the chances, bit of a get out with the penalty for Liverpool. So as much as you're saying on the one hand, sustainable, yes, great, you'd almost, well, here's the question. Would you rather have had a muggy win or a sustainable looking draw? Long term, you want sustainable performances, but also in a low tide season at the bottom of the table, you just want wins, don't you? So, you let me know what you think in the comments about that. 24% possession. Well, who cares? Because look, 4 big chances created. 3 for Liverpool. Does say that they did concede their fair amount of chances in this game. But look, Liverpool have turned everybody over the last couple of years. And let's just talk about Fulham. It's a sustainable performance. And moreover, he's found a system using Reed and this idea of maybe an extra defensive player without the ball, an extra attacking player with the ball. How important that makes Bobby Reed to the system, I don't know. And whether you can now survive without him. Don't put all your eggs in that one basket. But it's looking a lot better. And if you told me, I've said this a few times on the show in recent months, if you told me that Ruddock, Ream, Hector, Brian, Adoy, Kearney, Mitrovic, Knockout back out on loan, none of those people in the team. You have to give Scott Parker some credit for developing a strategy as he goes. Will that strategy be enough to keep them up? I don't know. But as Patrice Evra said after the game, they look ahead of Sheffield United and West Brom. The only issue is, can they be ahead of Burnley and Brighton? So let me know your thoughts. But even though it's only 2 wins in those last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games, much more of a sense of an upward trend. And what they need to do now is when they do come up against Brighton, Burnley, other teams, they need to win the games, don't they? Else this is all for nothing. Look at the next game, Fulham at home to Brighton. We will know a lot more there. Does this strategy this team and this upward trend necessitate a victory over Brighton. That is far more key than anything else that you can kind of draw, given that they've only got 1 point in this game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But some encouragement. Fulham 1, Liverpool 1. And on we go next to Newcastle 2, West Brom 1. Let me take a swig of water and have a think about this as we go. West Brom coming a cropper at Steve Bruce's Newcastle. Of course, to a Dwight Gale goal. He was so prolific for West Brom in the loan periods he spent down in the Championship with the Baggies. I wonder where Slaven Bilic would have finished if he'd had Dwight Gale all of last season. I think they'd have scored a few more points, put it that way. There is your West Brom team. Johnston, Ajayi, Ivanovic, O'Shea comes in. Phillips wing-back again. Is that a little nod to Scott Parker's strategy and trying to get a player who can defend without the ball and an attack with? Obviously, your ideal is a Trent Alexander-Arnold or an Andrew Robertson, but that will cost you a pretty penny, won't it? Furlong down the other side, more an orthodox fullback. Krovinovic is added to the central midfield with Sawyers and Gallagher, who've been starting regularly. Grant and Robinson. Obviously, Pereira suspended after his red card. There's your Steve Bruce-looking Newcastle team. Darlow, Kraft, Hayden, Clark, Lewis across the back. Ritchie and Almiron wide. Shelvey and Longstaff with Joe Linton and Wilson up top. And we were doing the Saturday Super Stream, and I always say about 2:55 on a Saturday, where's the first goal coming? It's coming here after 20 seconds. And to use a term that means absolutely nothing, it's just one of those, isn't it, where you get caught from kickoff. West Brom take the kickoff, play it into the Newcastle left back area, down the line, and all it takes is for 2 challenges to go against you. Ivanovic, a bit iffy there. It goes inside. Wilson, Joe Linton, he's quickly played it, and all of a sudden, look where the ball's ended up. A clear, big chance for Almiron, who sticks it in. And if you're Slaven Bilic, you're just banging your head against a brick wall, aren't you? It's take your kick off, and 20 seconds later, you've conceded a goal. What can you do about that? Especially an experienced player like Ivanovic. But sometimes players aren't warmed into a game like that, and maybe 75 minutes in, Ivanovic realises, oh, pull the shirt, tactical foul, stop the play, but you just haven't got your groove after 20 seconds. And it's a freak goal, isn't it? They don't happen very often, do they? So 1-0 Newcastle, mountain to climb. Here is a pretty big chance there for Joe Linton. Again, I wonder, could he cut that back? I always say if you're a striker, shoot for that position. But good angles by Johnston, makes the save on the near post. Here's a chance described as a big chance for in the commentary. I don't really think it is, given the amount of players in the way. What I would say is Conor Gallagher goes the wrong side. He's going to try and put that to Darlow's left. Look at the gap to his right, though, in terms of a clear path to goal. I wonder, could he have slotted it the other side with his right foot and dummied Shelvey and given everyone the eyes? He certainly got enough quality to do it, and he's scored a couple of goals recently, Gallagher. He doesn't, and he misses. Here's a great goal, though, by Darnell Furlong. I didn't realise what a good goal this was, actually, on first viewing, because I was just looking at Jamal Lewis, the left back. There's a lot of mockery of Norwich last season, saying that they essentially had 100 million quid's worth of defenders, but none of them could defend last season. All very good players in isolation, aren't they? But stunk it out at the bottom of the Premier League. And here's Jamal Lewis falling asleep a little bit at the wheel as the ball goes across, just very static. However, 2 things can be true, and this is great play by Furlong. And I didn't notice, he does a little scissor kick to run onto this, and it curls right, and it's actually a brilliant finish. So yes, Lewis is asleep, and Furlong blindsides him with the run, but it's a great finish, isn't it, for 1-1. Can they hold out for a point? Can they go ahead and get the winner? No. It's a brilliant cross from Murphy from the right. We need to give credit there. Dwight Gale is not a tall man, but his movement's brilliant. And what a header. Slams it in off the underside of the crossbar. We said about Gale forever and a day. Does he? West Brom fans watching will know way more about Gale than me, having seen him firsthand. He's got brilliant movement. He's a great finisher. The question has been, does he fall into halfway between being a Premier League player and a Championship player? Too good for the Championship, not trusted in the Premier League, where often you play one up top. Can he give you enough as a one up top? Steve Bruce is playing two up top here. So I personally would love to see Dwight Gale get a chance and the question be answered. But maybe people like Steve Bruce, who know way more about football than me, already know the answer and just going to use him as a sub. We will see. I just see a player like that and think he's a bagsman. He's a goal machine. Well, surely, whatever level you're playing at, find a place. But hey, as I reiterate, Steve Bruce knows a hell of a lot more than me about football and is a very experienced manager. And he gets the win here, does Brucey. There's your numbers. Baggies 55 to 45 on the possession, 13 shots to 12. But Steve Bruce ahoy. Steve Bruce ahoy. 7 shots to 3 on target, 4 corners to 3 big. So again, we see it so often. These managers who don't bother about possession, they're almost happy for that stat to go up and up and up. Let the other team have the ball. We'll still get the big chances. We'll still get the territory. And when we do use it, we'll still win the game. And there you go. Again, Newcastle 2, West Brom 1. Oh dear, I've put the Newcastle form up instead of the West Brom. Excuse me, that is an error on my part. Needless to say, West Brom down the bottom with just that one victory against Sheffield United. Is Bilic trying his damnedest? Yes. Do they look a sustainable Premier League side that will survive? No, not at the moment. The level needs to go up. The execution needs to go up. I think he knows the system now. Are the players good enough and have they got time to become good enough? We'll find out, won't we? If they are, they'll stay up. If they're not, they'll go down. Fairly straightforward. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Newcastle 2, West Brom 1. Finally, as The Rock used to say on WWE SmackDown, finally, I'll say and pronounce the A, Southampton 3, Sheffield United 0. I've gone into that voice again of depression when I talk about the poor old Blades, who we've had such fun covering on my channel for a couple of seasons. It's going so badly, it's not true. Another defeat, 3-0. And if football is in the main psychological, they're just beating these bunch, aren't they? I saw it with my team, Ipswich, in 18-19, where they would go out on the pitch, not confident, concede rubbish goals, and despite having good periods in game, just lose week after week once that confidence goes. And it's not nice to see, but that is essentially what's happening. And Chris Wilder, who I like very much, and the Blades fans, who I have a great relationship with, would probably agree, sadly. There is the Sheffield United team. Ramsdale, Basham, Egan, Jagielka comes in. So just going for outright experience. We'd seen Keane Bryan for a couple of games. Ender Stevens comes back. That's good news with George Baldock. Fleck, Ampadu and Berger. So Ampadu more a defensive mind. You can see logic behind every one of those decisions. Bring Jagielka in for some steady experience. Get Stevens back in the team. Ampadu for some extra cover in front. It all makes sense on paper. But if the psychological disadvantage is dragging you down, then the outcome's still the same. Sadly, McBurney and then also Billy Sharp. Again, it makes sense. Experience, a level, steady head, a goal machine. Maybe not going to get about the pitch, but try it. Throw some stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Nothing at the moment, sadly, for Sheffield United. McCarthy in goal for Southampton. Walker-Peters, Bednarek, Vestergaard, Bertrand, Armstrong and Walcott wide with Romeo and Ward-Prowse, Adams and Ings. And as Chris Wilder alluded to in his post-match, there's a sense that Sheffield United are where Southampton were 12 months ago, and Southampton are where Sheffield United were 12 months ago. One flying high with the players playing out of their skins, and the other completely not confident and losing games one after the next. And it's just an absolutely rubbish goal, this one that they concede with Che Adams. So in the first instance, I think Jagielka heads it up in the air when Ramsdale is behind him and can just catch it. Bednarek jumps, it hits his shoulder. Adams goes in, and I do agree with Chris Wilder. He swings a foot at the ball. It goes right through John Egan and beats Ramsdale at the near post. And I've got no explanation for it, but you do concede rubbish goals when you're down at the bottom of the league, and mistakes are punished and made more frequently, aren't they? 1-0. And of course, Che Adams used to play for Sheffield United, didn't he? Here comes number 2. And yes, there is Armstrong with the shot. But who is 15? Excuse me. So I want to get this right. It's Phil Jagielka again. Or does it deflect off Basham? Forgive me, I can't remember. Armstrong hits the shot. Big deflection. In it goes. We've talked at length. In fact, we talked about Norwich at the top of the Championship scoring deflected goals. And we can praise teams for scoring deflected goals. They continually attack. They force a crammed defence. They have lots of shots. But we can also say, when we were talking about Rotherham in the Championship, we can criticise teams for conceding deflected goals. You're giving away opportunities. You're defending a bit deeper. You're not letting your keeper see. You're wafting out maybe a lazy leg. So is it bad luck? Is it good luck? Can we praise attacking teams? Can we criticise defensive teams? I don't know. I suppose you have to look at it objectively in each situation. But if you're a Blades fan, how annoying. A deflected goal. 2-0. The third one's a good goal, I have to say. Give and go with Redmond and Romeo. Redmond sticks it in the corner. All done at that point. 3-0. Southampton flying at the top of the table. I think they're third or fifth or something. We'll have a look at the table in a minute and I'll tell you correctly. But yeah, it's just... And the numbers are not good at all. Heinous, in fact. 68-32 on the possession. 16 shots to 3. No shots on target. 0 shots on target. So it doesn't matter about deflected goals or poor clearances. No shots on target. You're not going to win unless you get a champion own goal. 8 corners to 4. 4 big chances to 0. Sorry, Blades fans. I don't need to go on. It's just not a good enough performance to ever win any game with those numbers. And off the page, off the paper, you have to think about the psychology of a team that is going out looking destined to lose. And they just keep losing. And look at that down the right. Oh, my God. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight defeats. And, I mean, you try and fathom how they're going to get out of this now. And it would just take a miraculous shift in points per game, wouldn't it? And even if that does happen, are you now leaving yourself just too much to do? And, you know, can you add on another 4 or 5 games of... I mean, look, even if you move to the sort of point per game that would normally be enough, that would take you to 38, Blades are so far behind now that it would almost need a swing from 1 point in 12 games. God, 1 point in 12 games to 2 points per game. Now, there is enough games from my quick maths to do it, but it needs to be a hell of a run, doesn't it? Anyway, I'm tying myself in knots with bad calculations. It doesn't look good for Sheffield United. Get your thoughts in via the comments. There is the league table. So, the dearly departed, we have Aston Villa in 10th with 6 victories and 1.8 points per game. So, if they did anything in the games in hand that were against Newcastle and Manchester City, they could move in nicely to that little group of teams. And you just look beneath them. Who's going to come past them? Maybe an Arsenal would come good. I don't know. A Wolves. Who knows? Maybe Villa can see that out. But nice. Certainly the best of the 5. Then we have Leeds with 14 points from 12. Is this going to be the natural position? Would they be happy to be in that third quartile? Maybe. I don't know. And then we've got the entire bottom three. And sadly for Fulham, Burnley have now got 8 points in the last 5 games and mobilising forward and out of the bottom three. So it does look like if you're Fulham, West Brom or Sheffield United, you've got to usurp Burnley or indeed Brighton, who are familiar Premier League names now over the past few seasons. So Fulham do look more viable, but if you look, they've only got 1 more point over the last 5 games than West Brom below them. So viability, schmiability, sustainability, whatever, you've got to win games. And Fulham play Brighton next. West Brom, well, they've managed to put points on the board in 4 of their games. Can they go on a run of point scoring? I don't know. Will they be good enough? We'll find out. Sheffield United, it just looks very, very concerning. But, as I said, falling over my numbers all over the place, left, right and centre. Apologies for that. There are 26 games to go. And, well, look, let me pop this into my calculator on my phone. So Villa are scoring 1.8 points per game. If 26 times 1, oh, for God's sake, 26 times 1.8 equals. So with 1.8 points per game for the rest of the season, that's Aston Villa's form for the rest of the season, 10th place form, Sheffield United would finish with 47 points. Although it's not really 10th place form, is it? Because they would be higher if they played. You know what I'm saying, though, don't you? It's going to have to be something like now 1.7 points per game for the rest of the season, the entirety. Tough ask. And that's our show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. That has been the Dearly Departed review. It's a 3-game week this week, so we will be back imminently, in fact. I'm not quite organised enough to tell you when, but the preview will be out ahead of tomorrow. Maybe we'll try and get it out tomorrow morning. With that being said, thank you for watching. Thank you, as ever, to our fan sponsor of the Dearly Departed shows, Jay Coyle, who says, Dearly Departed, also known as Ben, couldn't bear to lose us, marching on together. Absolutely, Jay. Love it. Stay tuned to the channel. As I say, 3-game week. So I suspect the Dearly Departed show, well, it'll definitely be out before 7:45 tomorrow night because it has to be. The preview. The review will have to be on the Friday because I think we've got a game on Thursday night for the Dearly Departed. And then the preview will also be on the same day. So it's going to be a very busy week. Keep in touch. I'll try and keep you notified. But with it being what it is, maybe I'll try and get the odd review out for an individual game ahead of time. But with it being what it is, a 3-game week, maybe the preview shows might, you might have to watch them quickly, put it that way. With that being said, thank you everybody for watching, and it is over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.